Hi, this is Lisa.
How's it going?
Good. Ryan, before we start, I want to tell you that I really appreciate what you did for chat because I'm a cancer fighter as well, and I work nonstop just like you did. So I do appreciate what you did. I think it's brave and great.
Oh, thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, sending my heart for you. The first question, I think you accomplished a big deal, a big task, because you have to deal with both the loss of T'Challa and also the birth of the oldest Marvel character, Namor, in this new episode, in this Wakanda Forever. How did you deal and balance both the birth and death of the hero?
Wow, that's a great question. I was able to balance it with the help of all of my collaborators. If I didn't have such an incredible group of talented artists, professionals, I wouldn't have been able to do it. And that was what I did. You know, I leaned on them for support and leaned on their expertise, and we got through it together. And I had to work from a place of vulnerability. It was one of those things where you couldn't hide from how you were feeling on this movie. And I found the process to be more cathartic and healing and joyous than I could have ever imagined it. I think we made something somehow. We made a film that deals with all of the feelings that we have from what we've gone through very publicly, and also I think the world has gone through over the past few years with the pandemic and all the things that brought with it, and somehow we made a film that's I think is incredibly fun to watch. With more rewatches, I think it's a testament to everybody involved.
Speaking about the vulnerability, you mentioned that you once wanted to quit on filming career because you were too sad. And what changed your mind? Was there a specific conversation, because I know you and Chad talk a lot, that reminds you and encouraged you to continue the legacy?
I think more than anything, it was just the way that Chadwick lived. And I think that when I was thinking, honestly, it was selfish thinking. And I think that you go through those stages when you get hit with news that's shocking. You can think in a way that's very isolated, or that's short-sighted. You know what I mean? I think that pain and shock,
right,
it does that to you.
That
you know,
first reaction.
Yeah. It's like, so it was an initial reaction. The more I thought about it, the more I thought it out, and I realized that wasn't an option. Pretty quickly. Mm-hmm. But your mind, goes through it, and fortunately enough, I was able to stop working for a little bit and just sit with my thoughts, which I think is a big part of the grieving process. What's really interesting is the film deals with that idea, that concept of people reacting to intense grief in different ways, and also being allowed to go through the phases, being allowed to wake up one day and say, hey, I don't think I can do this anymore, and then wake up the next day and say, you know what, man, maybe I can. Giving yourself the room to feel it was something that I was fortunate enough to have been able to do. It just came back to Chad for me, man, how he lived. Like he never quit. He was going through so much more than I was going through. I was going through something that was that was emotional and not physical. And so I think that once I was able to get outside of my own head in that moment, I was good.
And the last question, the underwater world, Pelican. To build that world and the character, including Namor, did you personally do anything to prevent people from comparing them with Aquaman?
No, I think we made creative decisions that were the best creative decisions for the movie. It was bonus that they helped to differentiate our character from other characters that existed in the zeitgeist. Right. And I think that's a challenge that I'm familiar with, even though I've only been making films professionally for 10 years. I've been through it a lot where you're working on a film, you're developing something, and another filmmaker has a film or a story that if you squint hard enough, they look like they're the same thing. But I think the way that you have to do it is make decisions that are true to what you're feeling and unique to your own story that you're telling. And then what ends up happening is, if the films come out and they end up being totally different, because they're being made by different people and for different reasons. In the comic book community, we know that, there are a lot of characters that exist in maybe Marvel or exist in DC that are very similar. And the only reason that they're able to exist is because maybe they're pulling from IP that can't be owned. There's a Hercules in this canon, there's a Hercules in that canon. I look at it as these characters being archetypes, and as opposed to focusing on what makes them similar, we focused on what makes them different instead of looking at Namor from the outside in. What was great about Kevin and folks over at Marvel, and Nate Moore included, is they were saying, hey, how do we make the best Namor for a Black Panther movie? We weren't adapting the Namor of Marvel Comics for Namor's sake. We were adapting him through the lens of this particular movie. And through the lens of this particular movie, that was where the cultural inspiration came from. That was where some of the thematics that the character represents, the dialogue, how he talks, how he moves, how he dresses, that all became reflected through the Black Panther lens. And what we got is this Namor. What we got is Talokan. And I think that's going to be distinct enough so that it can coexist, out there in the zeitgeist with other things that exist as well, and not feel like it's stepping on any kind of territory. It's really just enriching the film going experience.
I'm sure we'll see more Telugu story in the next phase of MCU. Look forward to it. Thank you so much, Ryan.
Oh, thank you as well.
Thank you.
Cut her off, huh?
He's coming for the surface world.
I don't think I can lose, brother. Blessed to be blacker than an African in a world where they tell me I'm inadequate. You got some nerve. You got some nerve. Ask me why I walk around with attitude. 400 years I was born to be mad at you. The dirt, the mud, we were set to succeed. The Black Panther lives. This is what destruction sounds like.
别忘了订阅我们的频道，打开小铃铛就不会错过任何精彩内容，随时上架。我们下回再见。